Okay. Hi guys. Sorry, it's Tuesday night rather than Monday. I guess we can blame the Queen. This is Hangout 3 for Active Engage, and by now you hopefully have picked a game and a style of event. So what I'm going to do is talk you through what I would do for the next 2 weeks. Really, the purpose of the next 2 weeks is twofold. The first one is you want the kids to get better at the game. And the second is you want the kids to assume the role of publicity or journalist or coach, that sort of thing. So let's just crack on in. I'll put the job share screen share on, and we'll see what we get. So basically, you've got 2 weeks to work through using your game a pretty traditional TGFU kind of sequence. So for those of you that haven't heard of TGFU, that's Teaching Games for Understanding. Other people call it Game Sense, which is actually just a resource that was made in Australia. Or in its simplest form, it's just a play, teach, play kind of model. Okay, so really this is quite simple. I'm going to have to keep it really general because I don't know the games that you guys have chosen, but just talk you through the basic ideas of the TGFU model. So what happens is you get the kids to choose their game, or you know, as a class, you decide on a game, you decide on the style of tournament, whether it's going to be a sporting event or a challenge event. I'm assuming most of you will end up picking sporting style events because that's what TGFU will fit best, but we'll talk about the other at the end. So step one, you want all the students in your class to have, other than being a player, they want to assume another job as part of this tournament management group. So you need some coaches. So if you've got 4 teams, you need 4 coaches. You'll need a selection of referees, and I usually go for one. Each team has to provide one referee. Then you need some people to put their hands up really to make certificates for the winners, for second place and so on, to make a draw, to write the draw, and to go about publicity. Okay, then you put your class into teams. Sorry, I'm going to have to stop because I asked the children. Oh no, here they are. Willsy, I'm talking at the moment. Okay, thanks, mate. Okay, that's just our 6-year-old running through the house. So you put your kids into teams, and then they go about organising this sort of stuff. The jobs like writing certificates and draws and that sort of thing you can do as part of homework, or what I tend to do is just have a little workstation happening in the corner of the room throughout the next 2 weeks. So yeah, you'll have to let some kids take some time off of some other subjects, but they're motivated and they're interested. If you really want to get into this, you can have the kids make uniforms or make headbands or that type of thing, or at least just agree to wear t-shirts of the same colour or something like that. So if you're a coach, that's simple. In your PE lessons, you'll structure some times where the coach can lead the games. If you're a referee, same thing. Certificate maker, that has to be outside of PE time. Draw writer, really good for in maths time. You have a session or two writing draws, and then you need to go perhaps just expect the draw writer to publish it and to confirm a session. Sorry, I'm just going to have to move away from things. Right, and if you're a publicity team, you make posters and advertise the event, but that might also involve connecting with your local dairy. Or you know, remembering that you're advertising a product or a service as well, or you might be. Okay, so kids are in teams, and then you want to go through the TGFU sequence. So here's the TGFU sequence, as simple as I can make it. You start with the game. You've got your class set up in teams, and you want to set up the game maybe 3 or 4 times on a court. So you'll have lots of little practice sessions going on, practice the game itself, so little mini games. And as the teacher, you're simply going around, and this first phase of TGFU is game appreciation. So you're going to go to the games, and you're going to ask them some simple questions like, how do you score in this game? What's the aim of the game? And where are the important spaces and places in this game? And then you connect their answers to what they're actually doing. So if the students are, they tell you that the aim of the game is to get the ball in the goal, yet they're all running into the goal and crowding the space in the goal, you sort of put that to them. So is that a good way to be? And if they've told you that an important place in the game is in the corner, then perhaps you need to suggest to them or ask them why they're not using the corners of the field and so on. So you're just highlighting the fact that the game has some important places or some places that are more important than others. Okay, and you just roam around. So you visit each game and ask that sort of question. Okay, then you go around again a second time and you just ask them about strategies that they're using. So in a game of soccer, it might be to attack the corners to draw the defenders away from the goal and then whip it across. If it was basketball, it might be a similar kind of idea of attacking the goal and then pushing it outside the D, so that you've drawn the players under the hoop, and then you're going to pass away, an outlet pass, and then they can shoot. If it's defending the cone, it's the same sort of thing. How can you create space around the cone? And you'll get all sorts of answers. Kids will come up with sort of strategies about attacking one side and swapping over to the other, or they'll come up with ideas of short passes and then a long pass. It might be that they have strategies that are quite tactical, like that they're leaving one player right up the front, kind of ready to score. Really simple stuff. So you're just letting them discover strategies, and when you go around the second time, you might be suggesting some and literally telling them some things to try. Okay, so then you move down to the skills, and this is where your coaches can come in. So the teacher has watched these little games and they've identified things that aren't happening very well in their game. And it might be just that things like they're overcrowding, or that they're taking too long with their pass, or that they're dropping the ball. And so as the teacher, you might call all the coaches over and just talk to them about a little drill. Meanwhile, your games might still be happening. Your little practice games could still be happening, but you've called the coaches over, and you want to give them a little drill that focuses on something that seems to be lacking. Maybe it's shooting or scoring, it might be defending, it might be catching the ball while running. Give them a little drill, send the coaches off to stop the practice game, to run the drill, and then at the end of that lesson you'd come back in and just have a little debrief about what you saw and how the coaches found it, that sort of thing. Okay, so in one lesson you've set up practice games, and you've walked around once as part of the game appreciation phase, you've walked around a second time as part of the strategies and tactics phase, and then you've called the coaches over and asked them to stop their team's game and to run some drills, and you might have given them those drills, or you might have given them little cards maybe from the Kiwi decks, and you just want to see the coach in action, and that's really the end of a lesson. The next lesson you want to do is to revisit the same game, but you want to elevate the version somehow. So it might be that you record the winners, or that you have a time limit, or that you introduce some areas that are more important, like the girls' try in the corner of a touch rugby game and a boys' try. Girls' try is worth 2 points and a boys' try is worth 1 in touch rugby. Or it might be that if it's something like defend the cone, you introduce more than one cone. Defend the cone's a game where you're aiming to throw the ball at a cone in the position that perhaps a netball post would be, but you might, for this elevated version, have 2 cones in the corner of the game, so that you're just trying to get them exploring different versions of the game, similar but a little bit harder and a little more challenging. And that's 2 sessions, which is pretty much a week's PE, I guess. So just to recap, lesson 1 is game appreciation, strategies and tactics, skills. Lesson 2 is the elevated version of the game. Now, if you want to, what you can do is do it the other way around. So lesson 1 is game appreciation, skills and tactics, strategies and tactics, and lesson 2 is skills, followed by an elevated version of the game. Okay, remembering that you want to let the referees from each team have a chance to be referees. So I would suggest that you use student referees when you play this harder version of the game. And in your second week, you want to pretty much repeat the sequence. Just go right back to the start again. What you can do is ask the coaches to step out So do your normal old game, play the game, get into it, and you whip around just checking that people are playing. When you get to strategies and tactics, you can call your coaches out and they can stand with you beside the practice game and you just talk to them about what they're seeing and, oh dear, who needs to do this and that. And then again, put the coaches back in for another skill session and then another raised, slightly harder version of the game. What a cool idea is for these 2 weeks is to, if you can steal fitness time or a little bit of time at the end or the beginning of the day, you can just have the coaches take some skill sessions just with one team. We might be able to create time where you just send one team out of the class, just outside the classroom with their coach for 10 minutes, and they just they run a little drill and then they come and you send another team out and so on. Okay, so then for homework in the next 2 weeks, you're going to actually set some homework connected to PE. Well, you don't have to, but it certainly makes life easier. So what you can do is get them to continue on their posters, write letters of invitation to their parents or to the principal or that sort of thing, and just generally do all the extra peripheral work around things. So that by the end of week 6, you have the team's in place, they've had a go at playing the game, you have a coach who's starting to act like a coach, you've had some referees who are starting to have some practice, and you've got some infrastructure starting to come into place. And it might mean that you have to run a few whole class sessions, and then at the end of that session just give the job of completing it, publishing and preparing it, whether it's a draw or the certificates type thing. You just give that to a group of students who act as carry out the rest of that job. Okay, now if you are doing the class challenge event, it's really kind of simple. All you need to do is prepare the paperwork and the certificates and the uniforms and get better at the game. And in order to get better at the game, what I would do is follow a basic play, teach, play model. So what you do is have the activity happen, have a few kids sitting outside just watching the game happen or the challenge attempted, and then stop it and get those students to give some feedback to the participants and then let them have another go. And it's as simple as that. Let them do that a number of times throughout the week until they get better. But really the challenge event is more about the extra activities and so on. Okay, sorry, my phone's going. I'll just have to answer that one, but I think we're pretty much done anyway. So thank you very much.